Y'all ready to be history?
Get started.
Welcome.
Hi.
Hello, everyone.
To the Pro Audio Suite.
These guys are professional. They're motivated.
With Tech to the VO stars. George Whittam, founder of Source Elements. Robert Marshall, international audio engineer. Darren Robbo Robertson and global voice. Andrew Peters, thanks to Tribooth, Austrian Audio, making passion heard. Source Elements. George the Tech Whittam. And Robbo and AP's international demos. To find out more about us, check theproaudiosuite.com.
Line up, ladies!
Here we go.
And welcome to another Pro Audio Suite. I'm back, as you may have guessed, after the last couple of weeks of not doing the intro. Where is Robert? He does such a good job. Actually, you did one as well, I think, from memory, Robbo.
I think I did have a crack, yeah.
You did have a crack, yeah.
I'm certainly shouldn't give up my day job.
Yeah.
People are traveling. There's there's so much going on. So sometimes the episodes have 3 out of 4.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
which ain't bad.
Yeah, I don't think we've ever done one with 2 for
I don't
years.
think
No,
so.
I don't think so.
No, I don't think so. We usually pull the pin if that's
It would
the
be
case.
the 2 best and the 2 worst.
Oh, I'll put my hand up for the worst.
I'll go the worst. Yeah, definitely. There wouldn't
If
be
you
much
guys have
chat.
an opinion,
Yeah.
you should tell us in the comments.
Yeah.
Tell us who are the 2 best and the 2 worst to have to host the show.
Who's
So-
your favourite?
If you wanted content, then I think it would have to be George and Robert.
Are you serious?
If you wanted,
I'm serious.
zany locations, I think it would have to Robert.
Yeah, that's true. If you want
If you wanna
someone
laugh a
who
lot,
says
for
about
sure,
3 things in the
EP,
show,
yeah.
that'd be me.
yeah.
How to
if you
test an
type-
audio engineer, that'd be Robert.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, for
So
sure.
if
How many
time
crazy
challenged,
things you
that'd
can
be good.
smoke, that'd be Robert.
How many tangents we can go on?
That'd be all of us.
Robert.
All of us.
Yeah, that's true. That's all of us. No doubt about
True,
that.
yeah.
There you go.
Indeed. By the way, thanks to Austrian Audio, making passion heard.
Oh,
Talk
those
about-
guys.
Yeah, we
Yeah.
should mention them, really, shouldn't we?
Yeah, we should.
Sorry.
Do. Thank you. Talk about heard. We're talking about monitoring today and what you're hearing. So, Robbo, you were just saying before we got on air that you're working in a different location.
Yeah, I've been filling in an in-house agency studio for the last couple of days. And look, I used to freelance all the time. And I still, go to agencies occasionally, but this was one I hadn't been to for a little while. I've done work for them from here, but I haven't been into their studio.
What are you doing over there?
Oh, just, presentation stuff, whatever, just like whatever a normal in-house, some of the smaller radio jobs and all that sort of stuff that don't have big budgets, whatever sort of comes through, really. There's a lot of corporate video stuff that they're doing for clients and things like that. So a real mishmash, which is kind of nice because it's, some of it's, you can sit there and it's just a no-brainer, and other things you've got to sort of throw your head into. And it's kind of nice to be working with some creatives that I haven't worked with for a while. And some younger ones too. I've got to tell you, there's the amount of talent that's coming through in some of these agencies that sort of aren't getting the big campaigns yet, but are sort of working on stuff that you just go, wow, that's really clever. There's some really talented people coming through, which is kind of nice for an industry that's, being threatened by AI. That's one really reassuring thing, I got to be honest.
Yeah.
But coming back to the room, I mean, it was just as we were saying before we sort of started recording, it's just that thing where you're sort of used to something and you're comfortable in a space and you're comfortable with a sound and you haven't really got to think about that. All you've got to think about is what you're there, the job you're there to do. But then, like this guy who I was filling in for, he doesn't have everything hardwired, so nothing's normalized, right? So he's got this patch bay. And so you want to get a microphone into a compressor because he's got a really nice external compressor and well, actually what I used to have, you've got a Drama. And so you want to go into there and then come into the console and it's like, and someone comes in and goes, oh, can we record a quick voiceover? And you're like, yeah, we can. Just give me a sec. It's like, oh, but I think, okay,
Right.
yeah, okay, good, okay, let's go, rather than yeah, sure, open a mic and away you go.
He doesn't he doesn't have like a go-to that's like always at the ready.
He may do, but I don't know it. So I've opened up his template and I've tried to figured out what I absolutely needed to know by looking at his template, and then the rest I've just sort of bluffed my way through from my workarounds in Pro Tools or whatever.
It's going to be fun when he comes back. He'll be
Well, yeah. I mean, he'll open up his template and he'll be right. That's the nice thing about Pro Tools. But yes, I mean, if he has to open one of my sessions, he may be scratching his head. I don't know. But yeah, but the other thing was the sound too. You know, it's like you sit in the room and you think you know what you're listening to. And I did my old trick. I think I've talked about this before. Stuck the Eagles Hell Freezes Over up and had a listen to that. But it was interesting because I had to bring some stuff home because I've got to work on it today with them, and I was listening to it last night, and it's close, but there's little things that I sort of hear here that I didn't hear there, and all that sort of stuff, or stuff that I thought sounded right there that doesn't sound right here. So yeah, and as I said to you, Andrew, I was kind of also interested that, you know, I know many voiceover artists who struggle when they're not hearing what they're used to in their headphones when they're trying to do a session. And it was just an interesting thing to sort of go back to that, because having freelanced for a long time, it was second nature, but this really threw me the last couple of days.
It'd be funny because I've worked now 99.9% from here. Like I've only been in the city once in the last 3 years, maybe, I think. Maybe less. I don't know. Maybe it was longer. Mm-hmm. But I was used to going into different rooms, different headphones, different microphones, everything different. And it kind of like, yeah, okay, it didn't really affect me. But I'd be curious to see what would happen if I did it now.
You'd be so perturbed about 90% of the time.
I would be. There'll be a couple of things. One, I wouldn't know what I was listening to. And secondly, I've got into such a routine of the way I work that if I'm doing a live session, I know when I do live sessions from here, I've got to reprogram the way I do the session.
Yeah.
Where for me, and I remember I was in New York years ago, and there was a session on. I sat with Jim, and it was a corporate, and the woman that was reading the corporate, when she made a mistake, she stopped and went back and picked up and kept reading, which you never do here. When you make a mistake, it stop, and then you look. Okay, yeah, we'll punch you in, blah, blah, blah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So that I thought that was really interesting, and I've got into that habit of the same thing because I'm not like actually managing the session myself while I'm reading. So I'll do the same thing. Stop, I'll go back, and then pick up the read and keep going. So there's no punch and roll. So that would be interesting as well.
Yeah. I'll tell you one thing I did really miss the last couple of days, which I didn't think about until the first day I was there, was I missed INXS. That being able to shunt stuff around, you know, without having to, you know, muck around or whatever. And, you know, like the Pro Tools has got their own version of it, but it's nowhere near as good. Yeah. And it was, you know, I did really miss it. It was interesting that's what started me thinking, I think, more about, you know, what you're used to and what you're not.
Well, it's funny also because I mentioned this before we got on as well. There's a guy I know who just moved down into my neck of the woods, which is a very, very small coastal town. And but there's a few of us sort of creative types living down here. And one I've mentioned before is Pip, and he does a lot of long form stuff. So he's editing at home. He's doing all the audio post, and then he goes back into the big studio in Melbourne to do the final run through. Mm-hmm. But I got him, this young guy that I've met, and we went out for a coffee, and it ended up where Pip sort of said, look, I've been offered this job of a short film. I really haven't got time to do it. Would you be interested? And of course, young Will's gone, yeah, absolutely. But he doesn't have a setup. So he's working basically in his sitting room.
Wow.
And then he sent me a message saying, Pip's going to lend me some monitors so I can work instead of working in cans and stuff. Because I did ask him, how do you monitor? And he told me I've got a pair of Bayer 990s or something. And I thought, well, that's not going to work because it doesn't matter what your monitors are like. If the room's shit, it's going to sound like shit because you won't know what the hell you're listening to. So I said, get an SPL monitor too. I've got one here. You can borrow it. And which has crossfeed. So he can actually monitor like he's listening to speakers.
Yeah.
Well, it just means that instead of having like hard right, hard left, he can do it. It's a mix with the crossfeed. So you actually get something that sounds real.
A more natural sound, yeah.
Slight delay if your right speaker hits your right ear.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
but there's a slight delay by the time it gets to your left ear, and that's how the crossfeed works. So it feels like you're in a room. So I don't know whether he's going to come and get it or not, but it would certainly save him so much grief trying to do a proper mix.
Yeah, that's tough, mixing solely in headphones. I mean, I use them as a reference, but and certainly did rely on them the last couple of days. But I don't think I could mix solely in headphones. I think I would go batty.
Where else do you get a crossfeed? I know SPL, that's one of their big selling points.
Waves do some room emulations.
That's becoming a big thing now, right? They're emulating rooms, but those are doing a lot more DSP and convolution reverb and all sorts of other stuff. The crossfeed's very simple as far as I can understand. I mean, what I'm reading here is that, and with crossover and blending, it routes a delayed attenuated copy of the left channel into the right channel and vice versa.
Right.
Phonitor also, I guess that's their flagship controller.
Yeah.
Recreates national speaker acoustics by performing 3 functions. So it's not just the blending. So it's doing a slight delay. I wonder how much it is. It must be only a couple milliseconds.
Poof depth, yeah.
Right. And then frequency shaping, it applies a low pass filter to the blended signal because your head absorbs some of the high frequency sounds as it travels from the left speaker to the right. Some heads more than others.
No, I was going to say,
exactly.
Yeah. Depending on how much hair you have. Yeah.
How big your head is.
Yeah.
Whether you're a mum's torture or not.
And then there's a level and time simulation. It factors in the distance between your ears to calculate the exact timing difference, phase shift, and volume drop. So it's a lot more than just what I thought, which was just literally mixing the left and right together. So it's a pretty sophisticated process, but I don't know a lot of people who have said that I can rely on it for my mixes. I guess the key thing is it's just trying to get you a better stereo imaging. Because if you're in stereo headphones, your reverbs and everything else are going to sound much wider than they will on studio monitors or speakers, right?
Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
And so you'll have a tendency to maybe soak. Maybe, I don't know if you'd have the tendency to use less reverb.
You would probably, or you might pull back your timing or something like that. Yeah, perhaps.
Yeah, and then you might pan things. You wouldn't pan things as hard left and right because it would really throw you off being really hard left and right. But like on speakers, you wouldn't hear the panning as much. So yeah, it makes a lot of sense. You need to compensate for that.
And the fact you can adjust it as well, because I just went through that whole thing and sort of basically passed out when I got halfway through the instructions.
I was going to say, how the hell do you know when you've hit the right amount of that knob? How do you know?
Yeah, don't know.
I think once you set, you can take it somewhere where you know, like we were talking about before.
Yeah.
Use as a reference, and then you can get an idea of like, that was too much, or that wasn't enough.
Yeah.
And then
that
adjust it. And once you adjust, just leave it, walk away, and don't touch it.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think you'd have to set it up in a monitoring environment. That's your home environment, your main studio, whatever that you listen to the most.
Yeah.
Put on the headphones, switch A/B between your monitors and your headphones, and kind of keep dialing it until the stereo sound field, I guess, sounds similar, I suppose.
It's funny how many music people still use the car. Like I'm on a lot of forums and all that sort of stuff, and all these, young music producers who are doing some amazing work, but, they're still taking the stuff to the car and throwing it up and having a listen. And it's like, well, I get that.
But I mean, that was how it used to be. You used to get a cassette. I can still remember back in the 80s where, guys I knew, the INXS guys, for instance, would always come home with a cassette. And I was in the car one day, and Kirk, who's the sax player and guitarist and singer, had a cassette they were recording at Air Studios in London. I've still got the cassette here because just so he can keep it. I can't even think what it was now. I think it could have been Listen Like Thieves. Not sure. But we were driving around the car with the cassette playing and just getting an idea of what it sounded like, which is pretty cool.
Yeah. Well, today's my birthday, by the way. Today I turned 57. So I was already feeling old, but I saw a video not all that long ago, speaking of Kirk, and they've re-released the Listen Like Thieves for like its 40th anniversary or something. They've re-released it on vinyl, and I was like, fuck, am I really that old?
Yeah.
It's like,
it's
when
funny.
stuff you listen to as a teen is having its 40th anniversary, that pretty much dates you immediately.
Yeah.
I know. God, I remember standing on Turramurra Station as a kid going to school, having arguments with my mates because I loved INXS and they loved Midnight Oil, and we were arguing over who was better. I mean, Americans will be going Midnight who? Oh, no, they probably wouldn't.
No,
Midnight Oil.
Midnight Oil would.
Yeah, we used to argue over who was, who was better and all that sort of stuff. Oh, fuck, is that really 40 years ago? Am I really that old?
It's funny, because there's so many stories because I was kind of pretty well embedded in INXS at that point. Because of Kirk, because we were really good mates. So, and I get calls from their manager going, "Look, we're trying to come up with a title for the new album, and these are a couple of things we've got Falling Down the Mountain, Kiss the Dirt, or Listen Like Thieves. What do you reckon?" I'm like, "Oh, I like Kiss the Dirt. That sounds really good."
Yeah, good song too.
Yeah. Anyway, end up being Listen Like Thieves, but yeah, funny.
There you go. It is one of those albums that's just got one of those names that just sticks in your head, though, doesn't it? Listen Like Thieves. I mean,
and then we travelled with that was 86. We travelled with that record and I toured with them, well, briefly because of Chernobyl. We did a couple of clubs in England, flew out of London, got to Italy. First gig was cancelled in Milan, flew to Rome, and then everyone said, "Holy shit, a nuclear reactor's gone up in, which was USSR still. Chernobyl. And we're like, fuck. And it was like, where's the cloud going? And everyone's going, it's heading south, heading towards us. And I'm like, all right, let's get out of here. So a couple of us flew back to London. Some flew back to Sydney. Others headed south, which turned out to be the right decision. And the cloud didn't actually go south. It went
the other way.
West. Right over the UK.
There you go. Good choice. Well done.
Yeah. Hey, good pick. Got 4 choices here. Which one do you want? The wrong one, thanks.
Yes, exactly. We'll go the wrong way. Interesting, though.
Which is a tangent, of course. There you go. We've done the tangent.
Yeah, there we go. We've done our tangent now.
The monitoring, in terms of monitoring, I mean, I'm still relying on headphones because I have a different kind of duty than I am. I'm not mixing. I'm not doing mixes for television or music. I'm really just analytically listening. So for me to really trust what I'm hearing analytically, then I'm pretty much always wearing sealed headphones. I know that theoretically open-backed cans are, I guess, supposedly more accurate.
Yeah.
But again, I'm trying to block out all outside noise, really seal off and just listen to what I'm hearing. But it's also because I didn't have a monitor system in my own listening environment that I would trust to be close to accurate because I just hadn't done any tuning. But recently I swapped out these Yamaha HS5 monitor speakers that really look nice and they're Yamahas and they should be really good. But I was hearing some distortion and some stuff I didn't like. And I was like, maybe I should try some other monitors. And I was like, man, I got those Paradigm mini monitors sort of taking abuse in my garage where they're being used for everything except proper listening environment. And I know there's so many people that respect those speakers. Let's try them out. Grabbed them, brought them up. I needed an amp, so I bought a Fosse Audio TB10D. Fosse is one of these like super budget hi-fi brands, right? Their stuff's very compact. Just a little thing that's not much bigger than it's about the size of a Scarlett Solo. It's about, for all of us listening, a lot of us know what that is. With the knobs on the short side. So it's long and skinny. And it's got volume, treble, and bass, and just a power switch. That's it. No Bluetooth, nothing. And I decided to patch it into my Rode and start listening. And I was like, holy smoke, this is a good sounding system. The detail is there, the low frequency extension of these speakers, even though they're rated at, 50, they go way below that when they're coupled or sitting in a small room, with a wall right behind them. Yeah. They really drop. I mean, I can get usable down to 45, 40, even 35 hertz easily out of these speakers.
That's cool.
Just pretty amazing.
Yeah.
And then, but the problem was I could not in any way trust these to make an EQ judgment because the low mid or the mud range was out of control, like really bad.
Yeah.
I'd be listening to something with any bass, electric bass or something. They'd play up the neck, and all of a sudden it would just jump out at you. Like, oh gosh.
Yeah.
So I was thinking of getting the usual suspects for EQ. There's some pretty, complex software you can get. But then I stumbled on something called EQ Mac, obviously a Mac app. But the reason why it works as well as it does, because it's easy and it inserts itself into the sound driver in a very easy to understand way. I can figure out how to do it. And and I'm just using it on its free mode, and it has a 10-band graphic. And that was enough, thankfully, because it had 120 hertz band. And that was the sweet spot. I pulled that down 7 dB at least, and dramatically smoothed out the response of the speakers. And now I'm really enjoying. I've just been while I'm in here listening to all sorts of great playlists of music I keep finding of, there's tons of playlists of people saying best songs for testing your speakers.
Yeah.
Or audiophile this and that. And it's kind of fun because I'm hearing certainly some music I'm really familiar with, like Dire Straits, or, some of those other venerably, you mentioned the one that you like to use, Robbo.
Hell Freezes Over, yeah.
Hell Freezes Over, Eagles.
Yeah.
And so I listen to these things and I'm discovering tracks and going, whoa, I can see why that's on this playlist. Because some of the stuff on the playlist is there because it really uses the speakers at full range. I mean, from the very top air down into the basement. And those speakers are putting out, again, low frequency tones that I didn't think bookshelves could possibly output, and it's pretty amazing. So it's kind of made me excited listening to speakers again.
Are they naturally in that 120 range? Are they naturally that honky that you've had to pull out? Because 7 dB is not a small amount.
No, they're not outdoors. They wouldn't be.
No,
I mean, I've used them outside.
I suppose. Yeah.
Get them out of a chamber, and the speakers are, they're reasonably accurate. They're known in the audiophile community of having a bit of a V shape,
right?
EQ, right? Not clinical.
Yeah. Not
a very forward mid range.
Just a nice sounding speaker. Yeah.
Yeah. So a pleasant hi-fi speaker, not a clinical hi-fi speaker.
Yeah.
And that's kind of fits my sensibilities. It's the way I like to monitor. My headphones tend to be on the V-shaped side. But a guy who has an opinion about monitor speakers just walked in the room. There he is.
He's just joined us, but is he recording before he opens his mouth?
Okay. Are you all right, Robert? Oh, I'm sorry to hear that.
If you don't record.
Shall we carry on
recording
and wrap,
now?
or should we?
They're here.
Okay.
Okay, cool. We're talking about monitoring and the challenges that come with moving rooms or working in other people's rooms or having to swap monitors for headphones. And so I just don't trust monitor speakers ever for what I do. But the paradigms now with an EQ inserted are doing a pretty fair job. I'm really happy.
You don't trust monitors even after you've had a chance to sit down and listen to them, or you just don't like.
I don't. Well, not in my 10 by 11 foot bedroom in my apartment.
Yeah.
No. Yeah. I would have to do some serious bass trapping on this wall back here to knock down that 120 hertz bump. I mean, it is.
Yeah. I mean, I can't say that I've had a lot of luck mixing on headphones ever. Anytime
I wouldn't say I would want to mix on headphones if I didn't have to.
Well,
but then again, I'm not mixing. I'm listening on an analytical level. So headphones are fine. I'm just analyzing people's audio. I need to tell them if it sounds boomy, and I need to make a judgment on EQ or whatever. So if I was using my monitors and I didn't flatten their EQ, I would be notching out 120 on everybody's audio, thinking it all sounded muddy. They'd listen to it back and go, it sounds thin, or what happened to my, the low end of my voice, So I have to be careful to make sure what I'm doing is honest.
We're also talking about, before you got on, Robert, a guy who I know is going to mix in cans, and I said to him, I have a SPL Monitor 2, which has crossfeed, and I offered to lend it to him so he could do a mix of a short film. And we were just talking about that, working with crossfeed and also all the features that the SPL has to offer.
Have you ever used anything like that?
Like Waves has their fake control rooms, and a bunch of other companies have fake control rooms. I've never actually used those. I could see how in theory that would do the trick. I mean, ultimately, it's literally just waves going in your ear. So I could see that working. I just haven't spent much time on those.
The cool thing about the Waves ones, and I'm sure there are others that do this too, but I've only used the Wave ones because I've got the license. But the cool thing about the Waves ones is they've got a head tracker, right? So it uses your camera, and so you turn your head and you get the same effect as if you were sitting in the room. Which I kind of like.
Yeah, the Waves thing that I have used is the fake 5.1 thing. I use that every now and then on the road, or the fake
5.1 for headphones.
NT. I forget the name of it, but it's not like, like, ooh, you're in Ocean Way now. but it is like a pair of speakers ish, and then you have a sense of what's behind you, and you can get a sense of the 5.1 mix. It's like a fake 5.1 surround set in your headphones.
Well, if they give you 5.1, they must be able to give you a 2.
Oh, definitely
2 channel.
Yeah, it just doesn't have any specific room to it.
I see.
Yeah.
Right, because that's another big, it's one thing to emulate speakers, but it's another thing to emulate speakers in a space.
Right. I mean, I can tell the 5.1
don't mean anything unless they're in a space, right?
NT, whatever, I should find the name of it, but it definitely has a sense of space. It's definitely emulating speakers, but it's not some branded room, flaws and all,
Yeah. So they don't show pictures of this is the sound of Ocean Way.
They do that. They do that with their other products. This one just shows like 5 speakers, essentially.
Got it. Waves INXS.
There it is.
Virtual mix room over headphones.
That's the one.
Got it. And as usual, it's $35. Very affordable. So.
I think I have a couple copies of it because, like, every now and then, you upgrade and they're like, you get something free, and I go through their list like, this is all useless except for, I'll license another laptop with this.
Yeah, exactly.
Something I can actually work with. Yeah, I would say that. Yeah, the only way you could really trust that is to do extensive A/B test between your studio monitors. That you already have and get to a point of something being familiar. But I can't imagine wanting to emulate a room you've never been in your entire life. What use would that
marketing?
Have? None.
Marketing, exactly.
What
would be jealousy?
I don't get it.
Yeah. I mixed this whole, I hope you guys like the mix. I did it as though I was in a room I've never been in before. What do you guys think?
Yeah. And also the other thing is what headphones are you wearing? So it's going to sound different. Depending on
I forget how they do it, but supposedly I would assume they have some calibration for that.
They must have a list. Yeah, they must have a list of cans. Because what's the one that's been around for years now that has been working in this space? I can't remember the name of their company. I think they're Swedish.
Softtube.
Oh yes.
Is it Softtube? Did they get bought by Softtube? I feel like there's another product software brand. Whose name is we're all slipping. Like they have Sound ID. Sound ID is like one of their licenses.
Sonus or something like that.
Yeah, we're all drawing a blank, but they've been doing this.
They're doing more room correction, and then they do. I think they let you carry your control room with you.
That's compelling, right? If you could emulate your actual control room in your cans,
I do think that's highly more useful than here's some real estate that you can't live in. But
definitely.
Yeah, Sonarworks.
But that would take a fair amount of Sonarworks. Sonarworks, right. That would take a fair amount of measurement too. So you'd have to, do proper measurement and such. I'm sure they have a system for doing all that. That's very easy to follow.
And the interesting thing, exactly, Sonarworks embedded it into the Apollo as well. So that's another interesting thing.
Boy, there's a big win getting that into the Apollo.
Yeah, into the monitoring section of the Apollo.
Yeah, because what's nice about it being in a hardware DSP is it's portable. It moves between DAWs, whatever software you're working on.
And also
right now.
It sucks sticking something that's inherently latent in your entire audio chain that you can't get rid of. This whole thing has existed for a while. It started with Antares, who made SST way back in the day, in like the 90s, in the late 90s. And
also known for their auto tune.
Well, Antares did all this. They also did mic modeling before everybody did.
That's right.
And
doesn't always pay to be the first, obviously.
Yeah, and Antares did mic modeling without having you record on a special mic, and everyone went, "How the hell is that going to work?"
Exactly.
Yeah, I think it's always been, this area has, like actually probably the first one to really pull it off as far as modeling goes and go, "Oh, that's realistic," is probably the one mic that what's it called? Again,
Slate.
The Slate kind of, but it was single diaphragm, and I think a lot of things that Slate does is like, the
UA
the
sphere.
sphere,
Stuff,
the sphere seemed a little bit more real than the Slate approach. Slate was like kind of pro, kind of a pile of marketing. The sphere seemed a little bit more science than just marketing, even though they're both the same idea. All of it's the same idea. It's an EQ. Some timing.
Yeah.
Yes, that's right.
Well, I'm just using this free EQ called EQ Mac. Just it inserts its driver between your device and, so like instead of having it, my device driver in my system sound is, instead of Rodecaster multi-track or multi-channel, it's Rodecaster multi-channel parenthesis EQ Mac.
Okay.
So it makes another copy of the driver just with their name injected to help you remember which is the right one to use. And it does what it says on the tin. You can pay the pro model and it gives you a ton of other functions and features and a more detailed EQ. But just being able to notch out 120, a few dB with an graphic is really handy. I was real close to, I know in the garage I have I think a stereo 15 band graphic. I was going to go grab and actually.
No, you're going to put a physical one across.
The funny thing is, all this goes all the way back to like the 70s, and control rooms would have someone ring out the control room, and there'd be like the 31 band graphic that everyone's like, "Don't touch it." They'd even get the little metal cage
under penalty
like
of
the metal
death.
cage that could even go around it, and someone came in and rang the room out, and there'd be some engineers who wouldn't like
band
mixing.
Graphic hell story.
There'd be some engineers who didn't like mixing
story.
through those. They would turn them off because the EQs would have a certain amount of phase shift in them.
I had a boss, a guy called Jeff Thomas, and he used to EQ the voice, the station voice, who's Steve Britton, who we were talking about before. He used to EQ Steve on I think it was some ridiculous 64-band graphic or something. He used to EQ voice on Steve's voice on this graphic.
Wow.
Well,
I thought that the deal with graphics is they tend to be more phase coherent versus parametrics are less, have more problems with phasiness. If I recall correctly.
I'm not sure that graphics are more phase coherent. I'm not sure about that because there's a lot of bands, but maybe.
Yeah, that's what I thought. That's why I think that some people prefer to work on a graphic. But I was in college doing live sound, running shows solo, doing everything myself. And I would, ring out the monitors, get all the graphics set beautifully, do a band changeover at a party, come back to the console, and every fucking fader on the graphic is just pegged.
Flat.
Just like some dumb drunk frat boys thought that would be real funny. I was just like, oh, mother. I was livid.
It's funny.
Livid.
I've got a hi-fi behind me, which I bought in 82 or something, which has a multi-band EQ, I think, and maybe, how many bands? Maybe 5. Would that be right?
Probably typical.
Yeah, 5. Yeah.
But I can see what I've done. I've got a marker pen. And I've actually set it and I've marked it. But it's still there from when so if anyone touched anything, it's like, no, you go back to your band.
Yeah.
So let me ask you, on your EQ, how much was the lowest frequency boosted? Do you remember? Because mine was always boosted.
I wonder if I can see it from here.
Always.
But while Andrew looks at that, you would have done this though, Robert. In the old analog days, you used to use a China graph, and you would mark all your EQ settings on the console and stuff, so that especially like in radio, because you'd be making EQ changes during the mix. and so you'd have like 3 or 4 Chinograph marks on an EQ pot.
Well, I can tell you what I would do with graphic EQs. Sometimes you're working with a band and you're just looking for some like freaky sound, or you're trying to do something super stereo. You could either get a pair of graphics and do every other band up and down, and do 2 EQs the opposite way and like stereo something out without a time delay.
Yeah.
Whoa.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
Yeah, you just like full up, full down, full up, full down, and then full down, full up, full down, full up. Split the signal, go into both graphics, and send one left and the other one right. And it just makes this guitar like rip apart in stereo, but it's balls in time. It's not like separated.
What's it sound like if it monos up though? Is it all right?
I wasn't too worried about that, but it gives it this,
no, probably
each
not,
one individually gives this crazy like tubey like sound.
It would sound like a ring modulator or ring.
That's fun,
comb filter. It would be a comb filter.
Yeah, you're looking for a sound, or just like pop it into like into one chorus, and the guitar goes like. I mean, literally the definition of a comb filter. Like looks like that.
So anyway, my low frequency was a plus 2 dB.
There you go.
That's pretty moderate.
That's no, you're not. Yeah, you're safe and sane. I did sound. I worked at a church fresh out of college just to make money. I was doing sound. They had a recording studio, but they also had the sanctuary and the live sound system out there. And I remember walking out there one time and seeing the graphics, and they had a huge disco smile on the graphics. And I said to the guy running the board, I was like, "Oh, that's the EQ on the graphics. Interesting." And he's like, "Oh, the pastor set that. I can't touch it."
Yeah, of course.
God said that.
It's always someone else's fault. Yeah.
Can you imagine the low frequency in an echoey room?
Yeah. Well, I mean, that the guy who talk about a God complex. He even was in control of the freaking sound, the system EQ.
Yeah, that's right.
Are you kidding? And the guy had like this ring binder with pages and pages of settings for the board that he's like, I have to use these settings.
I wonder whether the smiley face was, the priest going, "Have a nice day."
Yeah. Maybe it should have painted the whole thing yellow with the sun.
Yes, that's right. Exactly. There you go.
Well, that was fun. Is it over?
The Pro Audio Suite, with thanks to Tribooth and Austrian Audio. Recorded using Source Connect. Edited by Andrew Peters and mixed by Robbo. Got your own audio issues? Just ask Robbo.com. With tech support from George the Tech Whittam. Don't forget to subscribe to the show and join in the conversation on our Facebook group. To leave a comment, suggest a topic, or just say g'day, drop us a note at our website, proaudiosuite.com.